let's kick things off with Black Lightning, man. Let's jump into that. Before I get into what this season was about, we have reviewed the first two seasons of the show already on this program here, and
Right.
while I have appreciated the show, one is the well issues that I've had with the show mainly um mainly rests on the pacing of it, because yeah, there are some episodes which kind of feel drawn out. You know what I mean? Well, when you come to when you're watching a CW superhero show, you kind of come to expect some level of action or some level of enjoyment. You know what I mean? But usually it's kind of pushed to the side at times. Now. So usually they will focus on telling its story, on its characters, all that kind of stuff, which is fine. But it's always to the detriment of, oh, I just want to see some action and see some shit blow up, right? Also, the tone of it, right? Or I should say the formula, because like I always felt like with the first season it was kind of uneven because it's trying to be like part woke, part black exploitation, part this
Right.
is a black superhero, but it kind of has the feel of like some kind of 90s TV show, like see a Mantis, you know what I mean? Something along that line,
Right.
you know what I mean? You know what I mean? You had to have your slight cheesiness to to alleviate the stuff. Um, it felt a little tad bit too dramatic compared to other superhero shows like Flash and Arrow and stuff like that. Kind of takes itself a little too seriously at times, and yeah, we just not enough action, right? But what really held it together and it carried over in the second season were the strong performances. You had some great characters, some great performances. You had great villains, especially with boy Tobias Whale, who he was a guy that I kind of hated. It kind of turned to you love to hate, but now it's just a character that I just generally enjoy, especially seeing him on screen. But yeah, with the second season, it started to pick up. They started to work out the flaws a little bit. We could tell they were still kind of fine tuning the formula, still trying to figure out what it is, right? But then, well, things kind of come to a head with season three, especially with the Crisis on the Fifth Earth, which we reviewed before on this program here, kind of bringing Black Lightning, and this was another issue I had where it always felt kind of distant from everything else in the DC TV universe. But with this third season here, it kind of brought it finally into the universe. It really did feel as if it now belongs to that
Right.
universe now. You know what I mean? So I really dug that.
I don't watch anything because season three started with before the crisis event, right?
Yes, it did. It did.
Right. Okay. So I watch up to that. I don't watch anything since crisis.
Oh, okay. Well, shame on you. Actually, shame on you. But we will get to that. We'll get to that a bit, right? But yeah. So just right. So before Crisis, really, what we were introduced to, or what the big situation was the looming presence of the ESA, right? You know what I mean? They have set up in Freeland, and what we learned from the last season is that they are preparing for this attack from Markovia. This European country, and what they have is this army, and they basically want to acquire all the metals in Freeland, basically to add them to that army. Um, and it's just a matter of Jefferson Pierce, who of course is Black Lightning, and everybody else, the Pierces themselves prepared for this event. But what happens, like in the first season, you saw Jefferson being detained by the ESA. Him and his wife, Lynn, is there. She's kind of helping out in terms of just the testing and all that kind of stuff, testing out metals. There's this particular chemical that's created that she ends up becoming addicted to. Sorry. There's also Percy Odell, played by boy Bill Duke, who becomes more and more untrustworthy, with each and every episode. You're not too sure where he stands, because yeah, he is part of the ESA, but you don't know if yes, literally, he's kind of it comes off like he's weaponizing these methods, trying to find the strongest of them so they could be ready for the Markovians. But at the same time, you're not too sure what his real motives are. It even gets to the point where he kind of hires Jennifer, aka Lightning, right?
Right.
With yeah, and she ends up doing some jobs. She actually ends up killing some Markovian soldiers, and in episode that was leading up to the crisis, you saw where she has sort of a moment of clarity. That's all I want to call it without really spoiling anything. Where she kind of realizes the error of her ways, right? But while all this is going on, you have Painkiller who returns, and well, he's still a soldier. Well, I should say, an assassin for Odell, and he does all these jobs and whatnot. There's even a really powerful moment where he's actually sent to kill his own mother, right? But Khalil, what I mean, the kid who was brainwashed to become Painkiller, he doesn't know about the event till after Crisis, right? So yeah, so cut to Crisis. Crisis happened. We Black Lightning sees Superman for the first time. Oh my God, he's Superman! He's real, right? All that stuff going on, and then he's sent back to Earth One, right? So everything has changed.
Right, he's not sent back. All of them going to Earth Prime.
Right. Oh yes. Sorry. Yeah, he's sent to Earth Prime basically. Yeah. No, I was thinking Earth Oneness, so that's why I say sent back. But yeah, essentially it's Earth Prime.
It was sent because he had his own world. I forget what number will he was in, but now him, the Flash, and Supergirl share the same Earth.
Yes. They do. But yeah, and just slight spoiler. No, they don't. They don't hint at. Well, I would say the other characters who were involved in Crisis don't show up here, which is fine. I understand that. I mean, it was a one-off event. I'm not saying that Supergirl should have made her appearance. Like, no, this is Black Lightning's story, right? But what made the second half of this interesting, and this was where I was kind of worried because okay, you had Crisis, Black Lightning's involved, great, that's awesome. But how are you gonna continue the story from there? And fortunately, they do, right? And what they do actually is that they introduce a new character by the name of Gravedigger, right? This is the first time I'm actually hearing of him as a character, as a villain, or whatever it is. And he's played by Wayne Brady.
Okay.
And right off the bat, I would say this is Wayne Brady's best performance.
Okay, wow.
Which is Wayne Brady a lot, I know, but the man really committed to that performance. Oh my God! But I'll get to that in a bit, right?
So,
I'll be excited. I'll be interested. I know it's Wayne Brady. Yeah. We talk about Wayne Brady. Yeah. He's the main villain. He's the main villain.
Yeah, is he going to have to choke a bitch?
Right? No, but okay. So just to talk, right? As you make that Chappelle Show reference, just what I thought that episode of Chappelle Show, right, was still hands down one of the best episodes ever because it took a pretty likable pretty likable celebrity as Wayne Brady, and essentially turned him into Denzel Washington from Trinity. It was awesome. If you haven't seen that episode, it is epic, right? But yeah, boy, that's what I thought. This man was just, he just let's make a deal. You know what I mean? He was that guy. Nah, the man just come back hard on this too. But I'll get to him in a bit, right? Also characters who show back up. Well, Lady Eve shows back up. Yeah, Jill come back. Jill come back. She was there. Lala, you know what I mean? Well, the great blaxploitation bad guy. Yeah, he's right out of a 70s movie, but just with 90s gangsterisms, right? But yeah, he shows up as well, right?
The Crisis brought them back, right?
No, well, I would say, well, they were. I wouldn't. It was a Jill Scott. It was a Jill Scott. I'm not too sure if they never really mentioned if the Crisis brought her back in particular, but I just was under the impression they were just hiding out because they kind of just give they just kind of give the sense that they were just in the background, like we thought that they were gone with Lady Eve, like we thought she was dead, right? But no, she was just in the background doing stuff.
Remember, the Crisis reset the world itself, so it's like they're different people entirely sometimes, but some other people not so much. But she's playing roughly the same person.
Well, that's actually a good question. Because she's still talking about the what is this? The shadow. Is it the shadow room? I think it's called the shadow room. But basically, the sort of like clandestine organization that she was a part of, that Tobias was part of, and stuff like that. So they still have the same goals and motivations. But I really should kind of look up and see if it's a different version of her, because she just kind of came off the scene. But how she's introduced here is that Lala was pretty much, well, since from the last season he's trying to find Tobias. He wants exact revenge on him, right? And there's this briefcase that was left behind, and this briefcase kind of holds the secret of this whole, meta experimenting that's been going on in Freeland and the United States as a whole, right? But Lala had it, and then through some circumstances, Lady Eve kind of acquires it, and then we boy, oh gosh, Peter Gambi actually ends up acquiring it as well too, and then that's how we learn the
Right.
secret of what's going on, right? But yeah, Lady Eve shows up, and how she's introduced is that she runs a bordello for some reason. I'm like, okay, all right,
Okay.
and
Oh no, no, it's a person. It's a different person because last time she was running we call Undertaker place now.
right, yes. You're right. Okay. So I guess you're right then. It's same character, but just
Yeah. Oh god,
set. Okay,
it's got the place on your place for Undertakers now. Oh gosh, I forget the name of the place.
the morgue. No, sorry,
Yeah,
not
Morgan.
a funeral home. A funeral home. Right.
Right.
Yeah. So okay, you're right. You're right. I forgot about that. Right. So thank you. Um, and Lala pretty much is trying to, he wants to he wants to rebuild the 100, right? So he wants to claim
Right.
territories. Like, hey, cool. Well, you have this thing, you making money, so I want to cut out of that, right? And then, well, they kind of realize that, oh, well, it's all about, he just wants to find Tobias, and she has her own kind of schemes behind, right? But them aside, you have Jefferson now, who is now more determined to stop the Markovian army, right? And we have this great episode. This is not even the finale. This great episode where all the heroes team up to basically, stop the army themselves, right? We also introduced the two new characters actually. The first one being Geo, right? Once again, these are characters that I've never seen before. I know you're a DC buff, so I don't know these characters, right? The character, the real life, the name of, the name of the character, the real name of the character. This had me laughing though, is Brandon Marshall. Because yes, I do know a Brandon Marshall in real life. You know what I mean? I was like, holy shit, I know it's a common name, right? Yes, Brandon Marshall is a very common name. But yeah, essentially he's this kid there, he's just as old as Jennifer is, right?
Right.
And he is pretty much out to exact revenge on, oh gosh, this nurse. Well, basically she's the scientist who works at ASA with Linda, the white woman. I forgot her name, but yeah,
Right.
she was involved. She did some experiments to his parents, so it resulted him being the way he is, and well, essentially he has earth-based powers, right? So he could cause earthquakes. He could more or less materialize
Well,
rocks and all that kind of stuff.
so
That's
he's saying,
kind of his
well,
skill set.
that means he from Markovia?
No, he's not. He's not actually, but he was one of the
Okay, because remember in Young Justice, it had a character called Geo, who was from Markovia, same power set.
Okay. Well, in Black Lightning's world, actually, I now remember the character from Young Justice. Good thing you bring up that too. See, that's why I need a DC buff, right? But yeah, in Black Lightning's world, he was just a student at the same high school that Jennifer goes to. So one thing we see
Okay.
next, he finds out that Jennifer has powers. I was like, oh well, I actually have powers too, and it's that stuff, right? The next character we're introduced to, this is a character I actually really like, is the character of Technocrat or TC, right? He is this black
Right.
kid. He's pretty much been alone, but for a majority of his life. But I really do like his skill set, and essentially what it is that in layman's terms, he talks to computers. So TC, talk to computers,
Right.
get ha, right? But yeah, what he does is that he is able to communicate with computers, right? So he could mentally, of course, he could mentally communicate with them. He's almost like he's having a psychic bond or a chat with them, and he could bypass firewalls and all that kind of stuff, which is a really cool skill set. And why I say it's cool because how they work him into the story, he becomes more or less like an apprentice to Gabby. Gabby's the tech guy; he knows everything, right? But essentially, what they do, P. Killer ends up coming back into the story, and they end up, capturing him, and they use TC's powers to pretty much divide the good Khalil from the bad painkiller there. But there's this firewall that
Right.
was between the two of them, right? So bad Khalil is locked up figuratively in this room, but ever so often he will come out and kind of take over the body. So now Khalil will do the bad stuff. I actually like that. I like that Jekyll and Hyde kind of stuff basically that they do with painkiller. That actually adds a extra layer to the character, right? But yeah, so but this last things last I want to get before my review. But then me just when you thought it was just all about the Markovian army, then Gravedigger comes in, right? And what we learned basically is that he was this black soldier. He was in World War II. They actually do some Captain America esque experiments on him, testing out a serum,
Right.
and then spoiler, he actually is the first meta, and out of his gene that's where the whole Freeland project started from, basically. So not
Right.
only is he the first meta, but he's the oldest meta, right? Similar to Tobias Whale, wink wink, he doesn't age, right? He's 100 years old, but he still looks the same way how he did like back in World War II. And his
Right.
goal basically is to acquire all the metas and bring them to Markovia to build his own big army. And well, whoever gets in the way, he'll wipe out. And well, his skill set is pretty awesome because well, he has super strength, right? And well, his senses are heightened and all that kind of stuff. However, though, and this is off of a serum that both Lynn and the other scientist lady were working on. If he ingests this, he is able to take pretty much acquire the powers of other metals as well. So all the tests that they were doing in terms of the Freeland project, he can acquire those just by injecting this serum inside of him. So yeah, so it
Right.
essentially makes him the most powerful meta in the show period. So yeah, it's up to Black Lightning and his team to stop them. And now jumping into the review here. So let me just get this off the way one time. This is the best season of Black Lightning thus far. I was
Right.
surprised at how good this was, right? And yes, it does have a bumpy start, right? It does have the same issues that it had with the second season. Well, the previous seasons, where it's like, okay, we waited for things to happen. How long we had to wait. But in terms of just building its story, I actually now started to understand, the narrative style of the show. So it doesn't just jump into action, right? It builds slowly. It builds a lot of tension actually, and then it will just leave it for like the last few episodes to just unleash hell, basically, right? You notice it in the first half where you had oh gosh, this guy from Jamie Foxx show, what I mean? The general who worked with Odell, and remember he was this big threat, and they were all kind of leading up to Black Lightning facing off against him. But you understand the piece it took for them to actually fight, and the payoff which was actually worth it, right? So they do the same thing throughout this season here, and actually I started to get used to it now. I actually started to like it a lot. So yeah, you know what I mean? Not every episode of Black Light didn't have to be jam packed with action, right? There's a story being told, right? And you just have to be kind of patient. You have to just like let things build, you know what I mean? But you have just a solid cast to kind of keep things afloat, right? So of course Chris Williams, you know what I mean? Crondon, aka Tobias Whale. Everybody comes in, do what they have to do. You know what I mean? And I like how they incorporate Tobias in this, by the way, where he essentially is a detainee at the ESA, and to show exactly what Odell wants with him. You know what I mean? So eventually he does escape, and then there's this thing that's going on with him. But they kind of leave it open now. Well, yes, because they kind of leave it open for a fourth season. The question is when it's going to be made, right? But in terms of Tobias, because he's in the background though, he's not front and center like the first two seasons. Here, you're not too sure exactly what he has lined up, but he does have a plan, right? But I do like that they did include him into the show. You know what I mean? They kind of made him weak now. You know what I mean? A lot weaker, less intimidating as he was in the past couple of seasons. But when he was there, he was there. He still did his thing. Still talk about them Negroes. You know what I mean? That's what he does, right? But also too, a dog. What they did character-wise with the other characters. You have Thunder. You know what I mean? Well, disappears. There's the build on the relationship that she had with oh gosh, the girl who I forgot her name, the one who essentially could shapeshift. So they build their relationship. They even have a great moment in the finale where, well, because Gravedigger is so awesome, the man literally could kind of look at a better and pretty much like tell them what to do, like mentally there. So yeah, he kind of turned her bad against Anisada. So they had this great moment when they were fighting each other, and this was like, no, we don't that kind of stuff. That was great, right? What else? Painkiller. Okay, let me just call the actor right here, John Calloway. Wow, like, okay, at first with the first season, I was like, okay, he just being the boyfriend with muscles to Jennifer, and okay, all the unfortunate stuff that happened with him when he got involved with Tobias, right? But I don't know, I was a little on the fence when he became Painkiller, right? In that first season, the second one, but well, in the first season in particular. But I find like with the second season, especially with this third one, boy, he just become like one of my favorite characters, way, because he is just
Yeah,
so deadly, way. He's so intimidating. And one thing I didn't know, Homeboy can fight. Homeboy
right.
is doing his own fight scenes, Jen. I had to watch close. I was like, this man doing your own stunts. This man doing it. And I was sold. I was like, yeah. Painkiller is a badass. Yes, he does some stuff that will make you like, oh my god, I really hate this guy. But overall, the man's a badass. Like true and true. But I do like that they were able to more or less, split his character there. So he has that Jekyll and Hyde stuff. And it just, like I say, add an extra layer to the character here. Because yeah, he wants to be good, he wants to do good. But because he know he's done bad, especially when he finds out that he killed his mom, he feels as if that he can't he no longer could, have a relationship with Jennifer. You see how that affects their friendship there. And that was like a really touching moment actually. But I really do want to see where they take his character next. I want to talk about music for a bit, right? Because there's a moment involving Painkiller that I want to touch on, right? So the music choice wise, I thought was great. You do have your 70s soul songs. You have, what I mean, yeah. Well, it is it is a TC. You have him listening to literally golden age hip hop. So he's also listening to like a LL Cool J or Run DMC or something like that. I thought that was like a nice touch, like him kind of listening to old school, hip hop there. Um,
Right.
you would hear like an R&B joint ever so often, but of course you'll hear like a new song, like a recent song. Like actually is it I did the second to last episode or the finale, you heard a song from Gene, well from his album from last year, Iris, right? Yeah, there's
Right.
a cut with him and Kid Cudi, right? One of his primary inspirations, by the way. But yeah, and it actually fit with what was going on too. Like, so it's not just picking songs from a hat. You know what I mean? The songs actually fit with the tone and what's going on here. But there's one moment, right? And just to touch on P Killer. So because you have this Jekyll and Hyde thing going on in his mind, you have a couple of moments where you see the two of them actually fighting. So you see good Khalil versus bad, Painkiller. And they work around it, right? So
Right.
they kind of make you believe that it's the same actor fighting each stuff, right? But there's a moment, I'm not gonna say which episode, where they fight again to a Tribe Called Quest. Oh my god.
Right.
I would have never believed in a million years I would have hear a Tribe Called Quest in a fight scene. And it was awesome. It was
Yeah.
awesome. Like that moment in particular, I was like, yeah, the show rich. The show rich. I love it. I love it. And especially with the great choreography that Jordan show here. Yeah, it was awesome, Jen. But so yeah, fight scenes were great. The action scenes were well handled and stuff like that. Where you see characters use their skill sets, whether it's Geo or Thunder or Lightning, everybody comes and do their thing. Even Black Lightning just show it off, but like even in the last two episodes in particular, that are like I would call them skill sets, but think of them like moves there, like from a video game. That one just pull off like one move after the next. And you're like, I didn't know you could do this. I didn't know you could do that. That's real bad. Okay, but let me just talk about, and then I'll get to the end, right? Grave Digger boy, Wayne Brady. Yes,
Yeah.
hands down, this is the best performance I have ever seen him in. And I'm not saying I've followed all of his stuff on TV or in movies, but my God, he was so convincing as Gravedigger. It was even to the point I forget I was watching Wayne Brady though, but just the conviction that he brought to the character, he looked threatening. His skill set was amazing. Just that's not just because he has super strength, but also that he has all these powers on the fly. So he could like literally manipulate you, or whether you're better or human, he can manipulate you, mentally or physically and all that kind of stuff. And it just made him all the more threatening and badass at the same time. But his character arc I thought was great. His motivation was great, you know what I mean? And well, just touching on the show's themes, you know what I mean? I was talking about race. It made sense that a black soldier in World War II who was pretty much spit upon by white soldiers would be motivated enough to become this bad guy and just not care about anything
Right.
or anyone, right? It made perfect sense. Uh, but yeah, performance-wise, I thought he was fantastic in this though. Side characters, well, Lady Eve, I was glad to see her. Her stuff was great. Lala's arc was great, you know what I mean? And as far as arcs go, you know what I mean? I thought that, they were handled very well. I do wish though, like near the end, you know what I mean? Some of them you could have seen how they wrapped up, but they just kind of left some open for the new season. And in terms of like where it ends, I was like, yeah, this I could live with this. You know what I mean? It leaves so much potential for what we could expect with the next season. But I mean, in terms of where the show is leading up to, I thought that it was just excellent in my opinion. So what else I should mention? Yeah, so storytelling was great, action was great, the music choices were great, performances were great across the board. But I would say that this is like now my favorite show in terms of like CW superhero shows. But I could safely say that this is where they actually, I could say almost there, but you could say that they nearly there in terms of just finessing that formula that they've been trying to create since the first season. You could tell that they pretty much improve on everything. You know what I mean? They have like that even balance. So you get the black
Right.
exploitation stuff, you get the wokeness, you get the drama, you get the darkness. Okay, yeah, this is still as far as other DC well, as far as other CW superhero shows, it is pretty dark, right? Not too dark, of course, right? But dark enough and dramatic enough, right? And it keeps you engaged, you know what I mean, in terms of just the characters and the motivations and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I mean, this seriously, I was surprised at how great the season was as a whole. And like I said from the
Nice.
very beginning, I was worried that okay, after Crisis, they didn't have anything else left. But hey, they just come and just blew me away entirely with that second half, though. So this second half pretty much redeemed the whole season as a whole. So yeah, overall, I give this a strong 4 out of 5, man. Black Lightning has reached, guys. It has pretty much figured out what it's trying to be. And I would say that if you weren't a fan of it from day one, I would imagine you really liking this season. But if you've kind of defended the show, if you've kind of sided with it from day one, and you're just kind of looking at it, hoping to see it grow and get better, then yeah, you will be genuinely surprised by what they do here. Yeah, I was really stunned at what they do in terms of this season 3. I am excited as hell for the fourth season. I don't know where we're gonna get see with this
Right.
whole coronavirus stuff, but yeah, boy, they really step things up with this season. So Ricardo, don't stick, don't waste any time. You have to check out the second half at least, because you saw the first half of this, but second half, trust me, you will be entertained by it.
All right. Nice one.